everyone, and welcome to the Sports Doyen in collaboration with V Express Sports. And this is one of our very first collabs. And a big thank you to the V Express Sports crew. We have Atul and Rohan with us. Both of these guys, I'm sure you've seen a lot of them online. If you haven't, I don't know what are you guys doing. Please go check their page out. Check their videos out. It's some of the hilarious sports content you'll ever find. And let me not take you guys away from the content there by saying it's hilarious. It's just the way they present it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us here, Atul and Rohan. Thank you so much, and a big welcome to you.
Thank you.
So once now that I've done all of your इतने बड़े introductions कर दिए हैं, तो अब ठीक है, you guys can send me my check later. So even though Delhi did not win anything, we'll come to Rohan. Rohan, how did you see this match, yaar? We were all sitting there hoping कि it'll be a close final. I remember मैंने अपने preview में भी, apart from Pratnesh, we don't count him. मैंने अपने preview में भी यही बोला था. I had hoped for a close final, but as it has happened with Delhi over and over again, especially against Mumbai this season, कोई contest ही नहीं था. I think पहली ball से you knew what was happening.
Yeah, and just first ball पे स्टॉइनिस के विकेट के बाद, like we knew कि now they won't be able to counter attack the way they did in the semis, like the qualifier 2 against SRH. So that was a big blow. Again, I thought they should have considered the option of opening with Rahane rather than Stoinis. Although Stoinis worked out in qualifier 2, but with Trent Bolt bowling and Jasprit Bumrah from the other end, I think they should have considered the option of saving Stoinis from them. Again, that's a defensive strategy, but I think that was the only way they could have countered the attack of Bolt and Bumrah. So, but they went with a more aggressive approach. Stoinis opening, it's fine, but nothing worked out. At a time when maybe Iyer and Pant did show some fight and grit to take them back into the match, but again after they gave away their wickets, like Rishabh Pant especially. I think the moment it looked like now he can take away the game from Mumbai Indians, maybe post a total of 180 to 190, which could have been some sort of a fight. But Pant threw his wicket away. Hardik Pandya went back to the fine leg. I don't know if he was aware of the field or not, but that was inexperience or something we have seen from Rishabh Pant. What he does, sometimes he just throws away his wicket. And that's when Rohit Sharma came out to bat with Quinton de Kock. In first 3 or 4 overs, they just took away any finals pressure that we thought 160 could have been a good total in finals. But they just blew apart the bowlers, Rabada and Nokia, and it was all done. So it was like Liverpool's first Champions League final. We knew Liverpool gonna win it. Spurs can't win. It was just like that, a boring match, one-sided match, and not great for neutrals. But yeah, congrats to Mumbai.
Yeah, and it wasn't great for the neutrals. I think Atul will count you as a neutral fan in that. Slight allegiance to Delhi, but mostly a KKR fan. So I saw your tweet before the match कि भाई कुछ कर लो, जिता लो. I saw a lot of others. Even I didn't tweet so there as such, but I did comment on a couple of posts. Come on Delhi, 2020 has been such a shit year. कुछ तो दे दो. And in the end, यार वही मतलब क्या बोले, मतलब there isn't much to say. It was a well-deserved win, but pretty disappointing in the end.
If you think of it in a manner हमने बहुत ज़्यादा expect कर लिया दिल्ली से, जैसे हमने देखा था qualifier 1 में, people were raving about, even I was raving about Marcus Stoinis opening with Shikhar Dhawan. He has been playing beautifully for Melbourne Stars in BBL, so I thought maybe it will work. It did work in the second qualifier. I was pretty optimistic about it, but then the Trent Bolt conundrum happened with Delhi, and he took away the game on the first ball itself. If you would have heard Ian Bishop say, how can you be in such a stance while playing that ball? Stoinis was that bad while playing that ball. And after that, okay, we would have expected Rahane to play slowly and steadily. Rahane gave away his wicket down the leg side. Right? That's not something you expect from one of the top Indian players. So at that time, it set the tone कि नीचे ही जा रहा है. और जब शिखर धवन, जयंत यादव क्या एडिशन हो सकता है टीम में, we thought राहुल चहर को हटाया, जयंत यादव doesn't turn the ball that much, राहुल चहर जितना. but again getting Dhawan out, and at that time Delhi had their hearts in their mouth. But then again, Pant and Iyer, if you think of the match again, Iyer would have thrown his wicket away as well, trying to attack. Kishan dropped that catch. It was a
हाँ
difficult catch, but then Iyer wasn't flamboyant while he was playing. Like he was aggressive, but that's not how you should go about it. Like you've lost 3 wickets on 22, and if your captain plays like that, TK did work out. They played ऐसे खेला फिर Pant. You think of it, Iyer could have attacked उस समय पे, but वो अक्षर पटेल को ले आया, प्रवीण दुबे को ले आया। वो एक डिफेंसिव माइंडसेट की वजह से ही बाद में उनको इशू भी होने लगा, क्योंकि आपको डिकॉक का विकेट मिल गया, आप अटैक करो ना, आपके पास अच्छे बॉलर्स हैं, आप अटैक करो, सूर्य कुमार यादव को अटैक करो, आप उसको स्पिनर्स दे रहे हो, वो अच्छा खेलता है स्पिनर्स। उसके बाद तो वैसे ही वापस नहीं आना था उनको, एंड एट दी एंड क्या किया उन्होंने, 3 विकेट लेके। वो एट दैट पॉइंट यू रियलाइज कि पोलार्ड मजाक के लिए खेल रहा है, हार्दिक पांडे इज प्लेइंग फॉर फन। दैट्स हाउ दे गॉट आउट, एंड ठीक है, बट ठीक है, दिल्ली कुड हैव डन थिंग्स अ बिट बेटर, बट ऐसे ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते। अय्यर हैज बीन फैंटास्टिक थ्रू आउट द टूर्नामेंट एज अ कैप्टन, बट ठीक है, तो सीखेंगे। दिल्ली ने भी अपना पूरा ट्राई किया, वन और टू थिंग्स मुंबई वर फार सुपीरियर कंपेयर्ड टू हाउ दिल्ली प्लेड।
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that really stood out for Mumbai was just the sheer calmness within the team. कुछ भी हो रहा था शुरुआत में, I know, Delhi lost the 3 wickets. Of course, that must have given Rohit Sharma a lot of, जो भी जरा सी भी nerves रही होंगी, that those must have settled with that, with the entire Mumbai team, and they must have been very confident going ahead. But when you saw that partnership developing, when you saw them reach 120 in somewhere around 15 point something overs, when that is the first time, I think that is the time then when they lost the wicket of, Pant went first and then Iyer went, right? So they lost Pant's wicket, and then just a little while after that, they lost Iyer's wicket as well. So up until then, even though Jasprit Bumrah had been hit for a couple of fours when he had come back for his second over, and Rohit did not seem like someone who was going to panic at all. Even the Mumbai fielders, sometimes you see it in fielders. A lot of these fielders, a lot of these players don't really play regularly for India. Jayant Yadav, he is not sure of his spot. Surya Kumar and Ishan have never played for India at all. And there were a few other players as well. So just the understanding of the core of this team, just the way they know what they have to do, they know what kind of cricket they're going to play. Surya Kumar, as you mentioned, comes for the very first ball and hits it for a fantastic four. The second ball is a beautiful six. Again, you say, Atul, तुमने बताया था ना कि why go with spinners? I don't understand this. You've got 156 as the target. Clearly, you're not going to win agar Mumbai 20 over खेल गया. Almost next to no chance for you that Mumbai plays 20 overs and they don't get that target. So what is the only other option? The only other option is to get a wicket. The only other option is to get a wicket. Now, Rohit, first of all, I know, I'm probably digressing here. I thought they should have brought in Akshar Patel as the second bowler. I thought they should have kept Rabada and Nokia behind, because the way Rabada was hit yesterday by De Kock, there were signs of Rabada being hit in the qualifier 1 also, if you remember. उसमें भी पिटा था रबाडा, उसमें भी मारा था, इन्हीं लोगों ने मारा था. अगर सपोज डिकॉक आउट भी हो जाता, they had Surya Kumar, they had Ishan Kishan. Do you remember what Ishan Kishan did to Rabada a few days back? School kids की तरह मारा था. And we'll come with this to Pratmesh. Pratmesh, she must be very happy, and we'll leave the Delhi criticism to one side. All in all, I feel, as a Delhi fan, I still feel hopeful, because it's one step forward again. They reached the playoffs last time, they reached the finals this time, and it's a very, very young team. If you compare their average age to Mumbai, it's like 6-7 years younger than Mumbai. So there is a lot of scope of growth in that team. So, but enough talk about the runners-up. Let's talk about the champions. In my mind, the best T20 team in the world, without doubt. They've got the best bowlers, the best batting lineup at this point, the most settled spin attack, even in terms of leaving people on the bench and playing them. I don't know what to ask you. I mean, you must just have been really happy, and sort of must have known this in your heart of heart. This is what is acceptable for Mumbai at this point.
Yeah, and I would like to start with commiserations to Delhi Capitals because I felt this was the best season in many ways, and just in order to celebrate a local Mumbaiker who was captaining Delhi, Shreyas Iyer. I've tried to don his style. I don't know whether it's worked out or not, but anyway, uh, and I talked about this analogy of Jose before the game, and I think you guys gave me a little bit of stick for that. But I mean, you were a part of it. There were 600 plus people who watched it as well, and I think people would agree that poets don't win, and that was actually the case with Mumbai Indians, and you could see from ball one how prepared they were for everything that came their way. With Marcus Stoinis opening the batting, the first ball that Trent Bolt bowls in, that was he absolutely squared up, and you just knew that outswing was going to take him away. With Shreyas Iyer, I know Shreyas had close calls. He played a really good innings, but then Mumbai Indians were ruthless. Mumbai Indians were just like as that guy likes his players to be absolute go bonkers on the opposition. They did that. They put Shreyas Iyer under a lot of pressure, bowled a lot of short balls close to his shoulder. They knew he had an injured shoulder. And I think that aggressiveness that came through Mahela, Rohit, and through the entire team management, I think it was resonated very well in the 15, I think it's the 16 matches which Mumbai played, except for that one match against Sunrisers where it was like, anyway, it didn't matter what.
No,
was
at this point, I think that was just a walkover.
That was just a
I think
walkover,
they just helped
yeah.
Sunrisers qualify.
Yeah, I think just helped Sunrisers qualify, just helped the Kane Williamson dream.
We'll come to individual teams, guys.
Yeah. So but with Mumbai, you always knew that season started was Mumbai Indians should defend their crown, and anything beyond, like, anything below that was always going to be considered as an underachievement. Such was the team, such was the way they had set themselves up, such was the expectation within themselves, and I think in the final, I think this is the most one-sided final I've seen in the IPL, and for a reason, because Mumbai were the best team over 14 league matches in the qualifier one, and I think that mental thing which you're talking about, likes of Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar, Jayant Yadav, these guys have never played international cricket so much, and Jayant has, but not the other two. But I think the 11 players who went out on the pitch for Mumbai Indians, I think 10 of them were part of the IPL finals for Mumbai before. So they have been there, they've done that. Trent Bolt was the only guy who, ironically, traded in from Delhi Capitals.
Yeah,
So,
that's another amazing thing that you think of, right? Like you talk about those guys. You talk about Trent Bolt coming from DC. You talk about Surya Kumar coming from KKR. You talk about Ishan Kishan being a homegrown product. So it's not essentially like Mumbai just flexed their muscle and just gotten in everyone in their team. They've actually built a culture in that team, and that is something that is very hard to replicate because I think that is something you have to give massive credit to the continuation of their support cast. I think they've had all the best coaches. I think from Ricky Ponting to Anil Kumble was also once a Mumbai coach, if I'm not wrong. Mahela Jayawardene, of course, is there right now. They've got a fantastic succession plan, and I think that is somewhat something that Delhi is trying to match up to, or any other franchise for that matter. If they want to reach to that level, it is not just a matter of one auction.
Yeah, you look at the core team, right? Like काफी सालों से रोहित शर्मा, कायरन पोलार्ड काफी सालों से पार्ट रहे हैं.
हाँ भाई.
उसके साथ when you add Bumrah, the Pandya brothers, probably also I think Rahul Chair will continue with Mumbai Indians. If
Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav.
They've had such a long journey with Mumbai. It's almost like they've blended into this team that plays together every couple of months a year and then goes back and then comes again and plays together. It's not a lot of change. So that is something that really helps. Obviously having new players every season now, with possibly we don't know what's going to happen with the mega auction. But then again, that would be with Mumbai Indians. It's never a fix for a season. I think the last time the mega auction happened, even during that time, Mumbai didn't look at it as a one season fix. They're going to build this team, shape this team, and I think that is what they will do in that case. If it happens, retain a few of the core players, which we know whom they're going to be, and then build a team around them, and that's what they've done over the last 3 or 4 years. And 5 titles in 8 years is not a joke. No matter what you say, you might have the best coaches in the world, but you still have to have the best players go out there and perform. The captain, I've always been a huge admirer of Rohit Sharma, and nothing against any other captain in the country, but I genuinely feel he deserves a chance to be an Indian captain someday, just because of his sheer, the trophies do matter, but then I think somewhere down the line, I feel Rohit Sharma deserves a chance to be there. At least for one format, the shortest format of the game, it deserves to be there. Which Shreyas, I feel, I tweeted it yesterday, that Shreyas Iyer should be starting. We should start preparing Shreyas for 2027 World Cup already. After the next T20 World Cup, or probably the next one after that. Give him the reins of the T20 team, then slowly start building that one-day team around him. So because you could see that in long term with Shreyas Iyer. So that's
even KL Rahul, yeah. I don't think you can discount KL Rahul. I think I was very impressed by KL Rahul. Also, I know his team initially. I think it was a factor of many things in his team, but KL Rahul is also another player India can look at. And we'll move on. We'll move on from this. Once again, many congratulations, Pratmesh, and to all of you Mumbai Indians fans. I'm sure you guys must have had a very, very long night.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll come to you guys, Rohan and Atul. Okay, enough of Mumbai Delhi chatter. I think हमने बहुत बात कर ली उनके बारे में. And as far as India's captaincy is concerned, we'll call you guys again for that debate. I think that deserves an episode in itself, because
definitely.
because there are very strong opinions on this channel, and I'm sure there are very strong opinions on your channel as well, and just like there are very strong opinions all over India. So we'll leave the captaincy to the BCCI for now, or maybe not to BCCI. I don't know where it rests right now. So so yeah, we'll leave it. We'll come to the next IPL, guys. 2021. क्योंकि हमारे पास टर्न अराउंड टाइम इतना ही कम है. I mean, it's middle of November right now. That's half a month. December, January, February, March. 3.5 महीने. It is just 3.5 months to the next IPL that is slated. It is slated for first week of April, if I'm not wrong. And because it's such a small time, Rohan, you were also mentioning earlier, the rumors were कि their mega auction nahi hoga. There'll be no mega auction this time because it's not viable. Then फिर rumor उठा कि 9th team हो सकता है involve हो next time. Saurav Ganguly has already announced a women's IPL with 7 to 8 teams coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, and there'll be a separate tournament for the women's IPL next year, hopefully with a couple more increased teams over the 3 teams जो इस बारी थे. So they seem to be making active plans of trying to maybe conduct the IPL in India. We are not sure कि हमारा क्या scenario रहेगा with COVID and with all the global pandemic and everything else. I'm sure they've already shown, UAE and the Emirates Cricket Board have shown that they can conduct an IPL. I was very impressed with the pitches. Up until the end, pitch kabhi slow नहीं हुआ, which was something PSL देख के I was conditioned कि pitch तो नीचे ही रहेगा, pitch तो उठता ही नहीं यहाँ पे, and it was very surprising. Few of the pitches were very lively. So
I absolutely loved the fact that the boundaries were long.
Yeah,
that was the biggest.
सारे बैंगलोर के ग्राउंड नहीं थे. I'm very happy about that. So I'll come to you with that. The Chinnaswamy irritates me because I think it's a very unfair ground. But yes, how do you stand from Chinnaswamy? We'll come straight to RCB. RCB, one of the most popular teams in the country and one of the direct captaincy rivals of Mumbai Indians. So what do you think of their performances this season? Effectively, they finished 4th. They lost their eliminator, but for the first time in a very long time, लगा कि RCB कुछ build कर रही थी, and there is scope of improvement. I know that there are a couple of spots they still need to worry about, but I think every other team apart from Mumbai has that problem. So how do you think RCB will shape up in 2021? Anything that you've seen?
Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah, so was it for me, Kushagra?
No, it was the road. Sorry,
okay.
I didn't clarify that. Sorry,
no problem. Yeah, so RCB, I think they were good. Virat Kohli before the tournament was very confident. He announced that they were pretty confident about this year's IPL. They had a good balanced side. And but mostly it was about bowling, because they had a good bowling attack this time around. but they didn't realize that their batting is still a cause of concern, and it could be again Kohli and De Villiers show. Because again we saw that in crucial matches it was again up to AB de Villiers and he wasn't able to play freely. Something we saw with David Warner in SRH. They were afraid of playing their natural game because they took too much pressure on themselves and they knew there's no batsman after them. So there was too much pressure on ABD. Virat Kohli, like although he scored around 450, 500 runs, if I'm not wrong, but again,
Did he look like that Virat Kohli we know?
No, yeah, that's
Nahin,
the
na?
fact. Because Kohli's runs, apart from that one knock against CSK, I think 90 runs.
90 something, yes.
Yeah, I think that was a match-winning knock. Other than that, his innings didn't make an impact, and it was not Virat Kohli that we are used to see. So I think that created a lot of pressure on ABD to come up with those impactful innings. And after ABD, there was no one. I think they should have shown more support and more confidence on either Gurkirat or Shivam Dubey for that lower middle order. But they kept on rotating both of them, and eventually, when like Ishan Kishan, what we saw with MI, like they gave him a role, although he had to open again, but they knew if Rohit Sharma comes in, he had to play in the middle order and he has to play that role of a finisher kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So if RCB had shown more faith on maybe a Shivam Dubey because he started off the tournament well, so why drop him and get someone like a Gurkirat? Also, Gurkirat is a good player, but show like it's all about how consistent your team is. If you keep on rotating, those players play because they want to save their spot for the next match, and not because they don't have confidence. So I think that was a concern for them. Aaron Finch, had he like been the natural and the flamboyant Aaron Finch, then maybe the RCB side would have looked good because Devdutt was playing well, surprising.
Yeah.
Because Devdutt's 500 odd runs was surprising for the RCB team. They were not expecting him to play that kind of a role throughout the tournament. We didn't see Parthiv Patel at all. Someone
Yes.
we are used to see him. So I was thinking in the mini auctions, maybe they should have gone for a on Morgan type of a player to provide more luxury to ABD Villiers because they need to focus on their middle order. But they
Rohan,
kept
एक और बात भी तो है. They
Yeah.
had no faith in Moeen Ali also. I think
Yeah.
he could have been one of the players जो कि backup हो सकता. मतलब
Exactly.
who could have been one of the players जो कि either of Virat or ABD who could have taken some risk at least.
Exactly. And again, that's the thing that they have not shown confidence. And you're getting Moeen Ali in the last final 1 or 2 games, he getting out on a free hit.
हाँ
run
यार
out.
मतलब
So
yeah.
like these things just because you can't blame Moeen Ali for that. You can't just introduce a player in the final stages. I think that's what DC did with Stoinis. If you thought he could be a good opener and he was doing well with Melbourne Stars, start with him as an opener. So these are the things I think that.
Or if not start at least 4-5 innings के बाद मौका दो.
When you knew that Prithvi Shaw
हाँ.
is failing, so take that risk. I think taking these kind of risks in the last matches, it just kind of disrupts the combination. And I think RCB were just the victims of that change in chalk. So can't blame them. Captaincy was still decent. Kohli was good as a captain, but I think he was disappointing with the bat, to be honest. And I think he played a major role in because he couldn't impact RCB's turnaround. Or if you say
और
they
अब
failed.
कोहली की जो बात कर रहे हो, इंटरेस्टिंग उसने क्या स्टैंडर्ड्स बनाया ना अपने, लाइक 500
500 रन बनाया फिर भी हम कह रहे हैं.
Yeah, what a IPL, what a waste IPL season for Virat.
I
Standard
wish.
उसका 900 है, 900.
सोच हाँ वही
Yeah.
I wish हम लोग अपनी लाइफ में चीजों पे ऐसे स्टैंडर्ड्स बना सकते हैं. This is unreal, dude. He'll not play the 3 tests in Australia. No, एक टेस्ट में 1 सेंचुरी मार के आएगा. We'll still say.
हाँ, सिर्फ एक ही
हाँ
सेंचुरी
नहीं यार वो
मजा नहीं आया.
And again, it's Adelaide where he's playing. So
हाँ मैं बता रहा हूँ
definitely-
वो पिच तो उसको ना रोल अप करके अपने बैग में बांध के ले आनी चाहिए एक पे. तो वो ड्रॉप ही नहीं है वैसे भी.
और हाँ, विराट की कैप्टनसी, मुझे इस बार एक्चुअली विराट की कैप्टनसी बहुत पसंद आई आईपीएल में, बिकॉज आई फेल्ट विराट इतने सालों से कैप्टनसी कर रहा था फॉर आरसीबी स्पेशली. मुझे लग रहा था वो बहुत सारे डिसीजंस ना ऑन द स्पॉट ले रहा था. देयर वाज नो प्लान इन हिज ब्रेन, ही वाज जस्ट फिडलिंग अवे विद हिज बॉलिंग ऑप्शंस. बट इस बार लगा कि लाइक विद सिराज, विद Washington especially, I think and that plan he stuck by it, and it worked most days than not. Because considering the limitations within the bowling lineup, Virat's captaincy was really good. Field settings were good as well. और काफी अच्छा लगा actually विराट का captaincy. It was a little moving for me considering I'm a huge pro Rohit Sharma fan, but then I really liked his captaincy.
Yeah.
And matlab, one last thing on RCB, I still feel कि maybe they still I don't think any of their bowlers can really rip through a defense bowler or rip through a team, because इनके पास they don't have that one standout bowler like almost every franchise does. Even though Rabada did not have last two very good games, but we all know what Rabada is, right? When Rabada is going to hold the ball up, or when Jasprit Bumrah picks up the ball for Mumbai, or for that matter, when you have Mohammad Shami picking
You're forgetting Jofra Archer, man.
Kings 11. I'm not even talking about Jofra. Like, I mean, so I think they're missing out on one out and out strike bowler who can be that RCB identity. I don't know what role they tried to play Dale Steyn in. उनको उमेश यादव पे कोई भरोसा नहीं था. उमेश यादव had that one season in which he was taking wickets in the first 6 overs, and उसके बाद से I have not really seen him do much in the IPL. But yeah, so we'll move on from RCB now. So yeah, we move on from Royal Challengers Bangalore to a team which took everything from Bangalore and sort of became a Bangalore B-side there. Atul, we of course talking about Kings 11. I will hold my hands up by saying that I predicted big things for this team before the tournament started.
I predicted a second place finish at one point.
Yes, I did. So how wrong could I be, right? And if it weren't for, I think, a couple of inches in that 6 from Glenn Maxwell, or if what's the name of the bowler? The name of the English bowler that they have, Jordan. If Jordan had any common sense and just batted a single, and a lot of ifs and buts for that team. In the end, we really enjoyed Chris Gayle. But how did you see Kings 11 this season? I think they have impressed people in terms of their second half of the tournament, but first half, तो यार मतलब क्या भांग वांग खा लिया था क्या? What was the issue?
Like if you think of it, Mayank और KL Rahul started in a manner कि लग रहा था कि ऑरेंज कैप के लिए लड़ने ही वो दो वाले हैं.
Yeah.
And किसी को चांस ही नहीं मिलेगा. And KL Rahul played beautifully throughout the tournament. Not going
without doubt
anything away
and
from.
This is his third consecutive season with 600 plus.
That's something
he used
to do, yeah. And playing in a team where you have Chris Gayle and doing that sort of a thing. But if you think of it, like their batsmen performed, their bowlers didn't. The day their bowlers performed, their batsmen didn't. तो वो जो एक केमिस्ट्री चाहिए होता है उसका इशू था. एंड प्लस वो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टाइम से फॉल्टर किए. इफ यू रिमेंबर, एज यू मेंशन्ड, द मैक्सवेल 6 दैट डिडंट हैपन इवेंचुअली. So that match, KXIP was bossing that match. It was against KKR, so obviously I remember it. But then they gave away the match. They legit gave away the match to KKR. Like, we don't want to win this one. That's how they played in that match. The DC match, where they had the super over, Mayank Agarwal played it, got out. The next ball, Stoinis gave a catch. I guess Stoinis was the one who got out, right?
No, Stoinis to Delhi mein, bhai.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris Jordan, right?
Yeah. So Rabada took that catch and फिर उसके बाद super over हो. So it was kind of weird how they handled the situation and how they could have. तो अब आपके पास टॉप स्कोरर है, इतने अच्छे निकोलस पूरन था आपके पास खेलने के लिए. बट एक चीज है जो पंजाब को कर लेनी चाहिए थी. दे डिडंट डू इट अंटिल द एंड. उन्होंने मैक्सवेल को ड्रॉप ही नहीं किया. लाइक, सी, you can give a player like 7 matches out of 14 to perform, and if they don't, you certainly drop them. कितने भी बड़ा impact player हो. And they didn't. They kept going on with Glenn Maxwell. They wanted to play with Glenn Maxwell. वो एक पॉइंट पे क्रिस गेल को भी ले आए थे शेल्डन कॉटरल को बैठा के, क्योंकि उनने सोचा कि ठीक है, दैट्स द वे टू गो फॉरवर्ड. बट मैक्सवेल डिडंट परफॉर्म. बाद में उनसे बॉलिंग कराई, उन्होंने थोड़े विकेट्स ले लिए, बट दैट्स नॉट व्हाट यू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम ग्लेन मैक्सवेल. ग्लेन मैक्सवेल हैज बीन फिनोमिनल द लास्ट टाइम पंजाब प्लेड इन यूएई. दैट्स हाउ गुड अ प्लेयर ही इज. बट दिस टाइम अराउंड वो चीज़ है. उसके अलावा शमी वाज फिनोमिनल इफ यू थिंक ऑफ इट. शमी ने इतनी अच्छी बॉलिंग करी है पंजाब के लिए. क्वार्टरल का भी अच्छा कर रहे हैं, नहीं कर रहे हैं. जॉर्डन का भी अच्छा कर रहे हैं, नहीं कर रहे हैं. एक्चुअली आई रियली लाइक मुरुगन अश्विन एंड रवि बिश्नोई बॉलिंग टुगेदर. लाइक I'm a huge fan of wrist spinners, and those two guys were really good for Punjab. But then again, in patches, someday Bishnoi will go for runs, someday Ashwin will go for runs, which is quite normal. Like when you are a spinner, people go after you. But in tandem, जब आप bowling कर रहे हो, as आपके पास option नहीं, you just play with 5 bowlers and then you get hit. That's the issue what KXIP had. कि उनके पास और ऐसे bowling कराने के लिए भी कोई नहीं था. Then they chipped in with Maxwell, but then again, finger spinners at the end मार खाते हैं. That's the story of the IPL. So KXIP could have thought of their team proportion a bit better, like getting in Chris Gayle. What was a good move? Like you saw how Chris Gayle played. He got out on 99 and stuff, but bowling के हिसाब से what they did was कि नहीं उनका कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं बैठ रहा था एंड दे कीप चेंजिंग दे केप्ट चेंजिंग इट इस वजह से थोड़ा पंजाब को इशू आया शुरुआत में कि केएल राहुल हर मैच में रन बना रहा है यार और फिर आप मैच हार के आ जा रहे हो तो व्हाट इज द पॉइंट ऑफ हिम प्लेइंग सच अ नाइस इनिंग बट देन अगेन पीपल एलिज्ड हिम ऑफ प्लेइंग अ बिट स्लोली like compared to how he could have played. Maybe that was the pressure that was built on him. He was the captain. He has to play a sensible inning. That doesn't mean like he can't play freely. That was the issue with the team at that point of time. He was conservative, and then he didn't try to hit the ball at the end. Only one match against RCB where I saw him hitting Dale Steyn over extra cover, and that
Yeah,
match
that
was
century scored.
yeah, exactly. But apart from that, he played really slowly compared to how we know KL Rahul plays. तो पंजाब का ठीक है टीम बहुत अच्छा खेली बाद में तो उनका रन बहुत ही सुपर्ब था दे लाइक दे वर ऑन ऐसे मिशन कि हाँ नहीं हमको खेलना बट ठीक है दे कुड हैव हैंडल्ड द टीम कॉम्बिनेशन अ बिट बेटर उस वजह से उनको फायदा हो सकता था एंड आई रियली थिंक द बिगेस्ट लेट डाउन फॉर देम वाज ग्लेन मैक्सवेल उसको अगर उनको पहले वो निकाल के वो टीम चेंज करते तो कुड हैव बीन उनके पास ज़्यादा ऑप्शन होते मे बी वो कॉर्टरला जॉर्डन दोनों को खिला लेते व्हाट वाज द हार्म लाइक आपने डेविड मिलर को इस बार रिटेन नहीं किया तो यू नीड समवन टू बी प्लेइंग दैट रोल ठीक है पूरन है गेल है वो खेल रहे लेकिन बॉलर्स तो देखो आप अपने कब तक आप ऐसे उन्हीं पे डिपेंड कर सकते हो ठीक है हार्दिस विलियन भी आई गेस पंजाब में बट ही डिडंट प्ले
He didn't get a game.
हाँ तो दे कुड हैव ट्राइड विद हिम बिकॉज वो टेस्टेड है वो खेल चुके हैं ही वाज ऑल राइट कंपेयर टू हाउ कॉर्ट्रेल एंड जॉर्डन वर इन अ फ्यू मैचेस तो अगर आप रोटेट ही कर रहे हो तो लेट्स नॉट रोटेट द सेम टू प्लेयर्स ना ट्राई टू गेट इन अ डिफरेंट प्लेयर एंड सी द कॉम्बिनेशन एंड उसके अलावा देखो मयंक गॉट इंजर्ड मनदीप केम इन मनदीप प्लेड अ रियली गुड इनिंग्स अगेंस्ट केकेआर तो ठीक है उनके बैट्समैन ने इतना डिसअपॉइंट नहीं किया कंपेयर टू हाउ देयर बॉलर्स went about their game and ठीक है मैं बार बार वही नेम रिपीट करूंगा but Glenn Maxwell has to be the biggest disappointment of the tournament for Kings XI Punjab.
मुझे क्या लग रहा है ना अतुल apart from you talked about the bowlers right I felt कि दो uncapped spinners पे आपका बहुत ज्यादा reliance बिश्नोई और अश्विन पे because Shami के अलावा all the bowlers were getting smashed I think Shami also a little bit but then he was getting wickets
उसके भी दिन थे.
तो वो बैलेंस नहीं कर पा रहे थे एंड डिपेंडिंग ऑन अनकैप्ड अनप्रूवन bowlers at the international stage sometimes can be a little difficult especially दोनों जैसे ऐसे स्पिनर्स है कि उनको मार भी सकते हैं वो विकेट भी ले they are not someone like you know who's going to consistently bowl 4 overs of 20 4 overs of 25 or 30 you know on their very good day they will pick 3 or 4 wickets with 20 runs on their bad days or normal days they're getting tongued for 40 तो ऐसे स्पिनर्स थे तो वही आई थिंक बॉलिंग डिपार्टमेंट में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम वही था कि आपके दोनों जो प्राइमरी स्पिनर्स थे नोबडी हैड एक्सपीरियंस और आई थिंक वो आईपीएल में स्पिनर्स को एक्सपीरियंस होना काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है इन दैट सेंस बट लाइक एज अ मुंबई फैन टॉकिंग अबाउट राहुल चहर एन एक्सपीरियंस्ड बॉलर bowling I think that is a little
नहीं यार but see your point is प्रथमेश आपको देखना भी होगा ना राहुल चहर के आगे पीछे कौन who is there to bowl right Rahul Chahar is bowling after Bolt and Bumrah Rahul Chahar has Hardik Pandya as the other option or maybe Jayant Yadav if he's playing that match or a third seamer in James Pattinson or Nathan Coulter-Nile so if Rahul Chahar is having a bad day he can afford to have a bad day and then Krunal will take 2 of his overs someone else will take 2 of his other overs but Punjab with Punjab what it was as you said and as Atul also said you know you were depending on this guy especially Glenn Maxwell as well I think they were depending on him for at least 1 over in the power play and उसी एक ओवर की बदौलत वो खिलाते गए इन्हें और कुछ नहीं तो ये एक ओवर निकलवा देता है। अरे भाई
Oh my god.
And that over he took Nitish Rana. Like of all the matches, he had to get a KKR batsman out. But if you think of it as
Oh, that's
as
frustration.
Pratnesh said, Bishnoi and Murugan both being uncapped was the big thing for the team. But then again, that's what's with the wrist spinners. That's what wrist spinners do. Either they get smacked or they take wickets. See, only Yuzveen Chahal was the one who didn't get smacked and was phenomenal throughout the tournament. Otherwise, every wrist spinner you see, श्रेयस गोपाल पिटाई हुआ, राहुल तेवटिया का भी हुआ, ठीक है, तो दैट्स द थिंग विद रिस्क स्पिनर। जाम्पा
हाँ,
भी
राहुल चहर को भी पड़ी है यार, सबको पड़ी है।
स्टॉइनिस नहीं मारा फर्स्ट क्वालिफायर में, तो दैट्स द थिंग विद रिस्क स्पिनर। तो उसके अलावा ये जो प्लेयर प्रॉब्लम था ना, जो उनका फिंगर स्पिनर भी था, दैट्स नॉट अ प्रॉपर बॉलर। मैक्सवेल इज अ बैटिंग ऑलराउंडर हु बोल्स, तो वो फर्क पड़ ही जाता है। और उसके अलावा ठीक है, आपके फास्ट बॉलर्स जब आपको इतना लेट डाउन कर देते हैं पॉइंट के बाद, ठीक है, व्हाट डू एक्सपेक्ट फ्रॉम ए फास्ट बॉलर? जैसे आपने कहा कि ट्रेंड बोल्ट करा रहे हैं, बुमराह करा रहे हैं, मेरे को एक प्लेटफॉर्म दे दिया है कि आई कैन गो एंड रीच हैवक। नहीं, यहाँ पे कॉटल पिट रहे हैं, वहाँ जॉर्डन पिट रहे हैं, तो बिश्नोई मुरुगन हैव टू कम इन एंड प्ले। तो ठीक है, स्पिनर्स के साथ अटैक होता है। एंड आई थिंक मुरुगन अश्विन पे इतना रिलायंस इसलिए भी था क्योंकि मुरुगन अश्विन हैज लर्नड अ लॉट फ्रॉम द अदर अश्विन व्हाइल ही वाज,
Yeah.
so they thought कि हाँ थोड़ा trickery he might have learned from him. And to be honest, Murugan Ashwin was really good in patches. He was really good when he bowled ऐसे comfortably. Same with Bishnoi. Bishnoi तो बहुत young है, Murugan Ashwin still has a lot of अपने पास IPL पहले खेला हुआ। बट ठीक है भाई ना, आप एक कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं बैठा पाए तो यू कांट रियली कॉल जस्ट वन पर्सन आउट एंड से यू आर द वन एट फॉल्ट। अगर आपका होल यूनिट अच्छा नहीं किया तो फिर योर होल टीम टू ब्लेम। मैं केएल राहुल को भी यही बोलूंगा कि आपने अगर एक्सपेरिमेंट किया तो नए प्लेयर्स के साथ भी करते ना, आप उन्हीं को रोटेट करते गए जब वो परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, तो दैट वाज बिट ऑफ अ प्रॉब्लम।
अच्छा कुशाग्र, हम लोग को काफी अच्छा ट्रेलर मिल गया है कि वी एक्सप्रेस स्पोर्ट्स कितना अच्छा एक्सप्रेस करने वाला है जब केकेआर का टाइम आएगा।